I should switch sides so it's better illuminated.
All right, and we are live now.
Oh my god.
From the greatest minds from around the world, this is Nerds That Know. Stash here along with this little asshole who's just being a dick. Just the worst kind of person right now.
And the rest of us, because he is talking about Smurf.
Hey, at least it wasn't me. Kind of figured it'd be me. I'm always an asshole.
Hey, can we talk about my asshole? I'm feeling a little left out.
Hey, if you will remember, Fox, when you claimed the sigil that you wanted to identify your gender on the Pet Play Palace Facebook page, we did say that we want Uranus. And then there was a whole Uranus is the people's anus.
Yes. And then I
followed by a glittery communism post.
Capital T, capital P, the people.
Yes. So your anus is the people's anus. So it is not just your asshole. It is your whole bum.
You better check with Dwayne Johnson on that. He might have a trademark.
Yeah. Make sure everyone's wearing flip-flops at the very least.
Sidebar, check out the Pet Play Palace, my new website. But must be 21 or actually only 18 because, 18 is legal age of consent.
One of these days, I'm going to submit a set.
Very nice. So Bobby here.
Smurf here.
Hank.
Fox here.
And Stash has run away because Smurf made him cry.
I'm very good at that.
I did not cry.
I'm thinking the next bet won't be for Stash Cash. It's going to be for turtle shells.
Real turtle shells?
Another metaphor.
I will not bet my turtle memorabilia. I'll tell you that right now. You can go fuck yourself.
Or is this like Leviticus turtle shells where you had to take him to the priest?
I think
you can
Stash would
ask
ignite.
Stash. I used to go by High Priestess.
It's true.
I actually think I'm still High Priestess in his phone.
He is. I had to look for you when we went to your party that night. And I ended up texting a random Bobby because you're not in his phone as Bobby.
Yeah, I think I'm in his phone as High Priestess.
Yeah, you are.
And the funny thing is, I don't know who that Bobby is.
Oh, no.
That is fantastic, and I hope that they are sad that they did not have a cool party like I did.
Yeah, well, they text me and they're like, new phone, who's this? And I was like, just don't respond to that.
Let's just leave this alone.
Just let it go.
My sister actually has the game New Phone Who Dis. It's quite fun. But I just got a friend of mine who got a boob job for Christmas. I got her t-shirt that says New Tits Who Dis.
Nice.
That's appropriate.
Bobby, did you see all the super cute pictures of me and Cheeky and Jeremy out?
I did. And I squeed. And then on the group chat with all of the kittens, there was much discussion.
Ooh, tell me later, please.
There will be much tea spillage. You'll enjoy. So
the reason I bring this up is because I had that halter top that said I have no tits. And
so we do have a smaller agenda than usual tonight, but we do have things to talk about. So let's go ahead and jump right in with the fuck is up with WandaVision. There's supposed to only be one episode left. I don't think so.
Runtime currently sits at 50 minutes, apparently, without the credits.
Yeah.
Without credits? Okay. Now we're talking.
Yeah, that's a nice episode.
Yeah, that's the current rumor on the thing, is that it is 50 minutes, no credit.
Well, as quickly as they blaze through material, we might get some loose ends tied up. But it's a question of what and where they're going to go with it.
Well, I mean, that's one thing about Marvel is we now know they don't have to tie everything together. Like, we're happy having loose ends because they get worked into other parts of the universe.
They get to play with them later on. They're playing with some interesting loose threads this week.
Some very loose threads. So, I mean, if you're a speculator, West Coast Avengers 45 is a must-have. Overnight, it shot up $200.
Oh yeah,
this is the first appearance of the White Vision.
Yeah, it shot up immediately. It was kind of absurd, actually.
This does not surprise me even a little.
It was a worthless comic. It is. There's absolutely nothing that goes on in that book.
Well, and it's
until now.
It's the market more than anything. There is so much spec buying. There is so much playing with all that kind of stuff because people have nothing better to do than play with their money right now, apparently.
Yep.
It's because everybody's still in quarantine in half the states. The other half the states, they're going to go back into quarantine or they're going to go into ICU.
Yeah.
I mean, Xboxes are still selling out within like minutes. So are PlayStations. It's like people just need shit to spend money on.
Oh yeah.
So,
and Nintendo already discontinued that little watch playing unit that they just released.
Yeah, the Game and Watch.
Heard, that's already discontinued, and it's like dirt cheap on Amazon. So,
also
guess go load up.
The rumor mill is that Nintendo is pulling all Mario related stuff very soon.
Yeah. Well, we talked about that last week that they've, pulled the Mario related porn.
No, that was years ago. This is
years ago.
Brand new initiative of whatever's in stores for Mario.
That's it.
Right now, they're doing doing something with Mario in the very near future, apparently,
which is weird because they should have done it last year. Because last year was their big anniversary.
Well, and especially since they just released that 3D All Stars thing. That was in December.
Yeah.
So that's not very long ago to introduce a new product, and then now you're not going to be having anything going out for Mario in the near future.
I think the downtime just put them way ahead of schedule, so they're having to kind of scramble and figure shit out.
That's what it looks like.
Kind of like we're going to have to do with Wanda and Vision.
Yeah.
And are those kids Mephistos? Baby Mephisto Lights. I don't know.
Are they even going to exist when the show is over?
Yeah, I'm gonna bet they're gonna exist.
Well, and that's two of the biggest things. They might, if they continue the story of the West Coast Avengers thing, they will eventually exist again, but they disappear for a while.
I'm curious as to whether or not the kids are still going to exist when the show is over.
I'm wondering
Probably
which
not.
variation of Vision's going to exist.
I'm going to say both. We're going to have Wonder Man out of this, and we're going to have the White Vision. An emotionalist Vision, which plays directly into the next major story arc for Avengers in the comics.
Yeah, and will get us rapidly towards Young Avengers.
Yep. So we'll see Iron Lad and Young Vision and Wiccan and...
Well, and they've already kind of hinted at Nathaniel Richards being a part of the next big story. So.
Yep.
Well, and I think that, we still have to see what's going to happen with, God, what's her name? Rambo.
Agatha? Oh, Captain Marvel?
Well, yeah,
yes, but she can't be Marvel. She can't be Captain Marvel.
She's not Captain Marvel.
No, she is.
So what is she going to be? She's going to be something.
Well, I'm looking into it again a little bit more. I think we're going to get Photon at first. I think she's going to take over her mother's call sign and become Photon.
Mm-hmm. And then as her powers expand, like they did in the comics, in 2013, she became Spectre. Yeah, that's probably where we'll see where it all
she
goes.
gains even more cosmic power.
Yep.
And
phenomenal cosmic power.
How does she gain said power? Does she just accrue it through experience, or is there an outside source?
Well,
Yeah, she leveled up.
It's
Okay, so first off, like Darcy even says that like her molecular structure has been
No, I'm
changed.
not. Yeah, I'm not talking about her initial power. We all know where that comes from. I'm talking about this next step in her evolution.
I don't know
That's
if you've
the
been
thing.
paying attention.
We actually don't know where her initial power come from because they gave us a decent hint in this last episode that there are people with sentient abilities. And some of those might have some interesting things that happen. So she may have already had some sort of sentient power or sentient ability that got activated by getting thrown through the wall of power, essentially.
Okay. And then refined as she went through more and more times.
Exactly.
As it rewrote her, yes.
Yeah.
And that's what they basically already said, that Scarlet Witch is the first one we're going to say was a full-on mutant. She had innate cosmic ability. She had innate ability of some kind. And then when she got
stone
dosed
woke her up.
with the Mind Stone, that just punched her powers through the ceiling. So there is something there, and we'll learn more, I'm guessing, next week. But because they completely left out Monica, they completely left out Pietro, apparently, and they completely left out Vision and Darcy. No one else has been seen this one. It was Agatha and it was Wanda, and that's it.
It was quite the story. It was very well told.
And they did talk a little bit about Pietro.
Yes, which leads to an
as
interesting
Wanda,
thought.
as Agatha calls him.
He is not a construct, though. So
but he is just a rando dude who, actually uses.
That we didn't actually find out.
Yeah, we didn't find that out.
She's using him for eyes and ears. That's all she said.
There's two big plays left to happen in the next one. One is who's the big bad.
Who's the ancient power coming out?
Exactly. So Reaper, frickin' Mephisto,
Chthon.
Despair, take your pick.
Yeah.
But everyone has forgotten about the whole reason the FBI is there. Who's
the missing person?
Who's the missing person? Who's in witness protection that's in that town that caused everyone to even take notice of this to begin with?
And that may be Pietro.
That is kind of pointing towards that direction. Unless they pull a Mickey and reveal something else.
Well, and maybe. We don't know because she didn't say anything. She just said she didn't reach for the other one because she couldn't because he was dead.
Yeah, he's like half a continent away. Yeah, and full of holes. Half a continent away and full of holes.
But does that mean that she doesn't have the power to pull someone out of a different universe? Or does that mean because he was alive, she could just yank him out? And that is actually that guy. Or is it just some random dude that she snatched out of nowhere and decided to call Pietro?
Good question. He winked out as Peter and made him really fast.
Yeah, how did we do this? What happened? Yeah. And then, we still don't know who the bunny is, but I mean, I don't know any bunnies that eat birds, so.
I do, but he was in Monty Python.
Yeah. The Vorpal bunny.
If they're doing a Monty Python joke in this, I wouldn't be surprised at all.
He's got really sharp teeth.
That's probably what that was a wink at Monty Python, because I don't know, that seems like something they would do.
That would make me very happy.
The Vorpal bunny means business, man. Don't fuck with that thing.
But yeah, we could be getting an interesting big bad coming out of this, and then there's a showdown happening. It's seemingly White Vision acting on Sword's behalf, and then Pietro and Agatha working against Wanda, apparently.
Maybe. I don't know. Agatha, I think, is still the wild card, because why would they go through her whole sordid past and her not side with Wanda?
She wants the power.
I know she wants
the power. Of course she wants the power.
And I think that's it.
Anybody else take her out and her not get it. So I could see her
battling against other people to save her.
Exactly. Pretty much.
Possible. But that's an obvious, she wanted more power, and that's why she had some initial issues in her life, apparently. And labeling her as the Scarlet Witch as not a name but a title was an interesting way to go about that. That is not her name. Like in the comic books, that's just her name. She's the Scarlet Witch.
That is her title. Yeah.
But
So it makes me wonder, like, what lore we don't know yet.
Yeah. Agatha addressed this basically like they addressed the Phoenix Force. Like this, she is something outside of the norm. That's not just a name. She is a being of some kind that they call to and refer to as the Scarlet Witch.
I was waiting for them to pull the Phoenix out of their ass or the Captain Universe power or some sort of nonsense.
Well, this could be just a slap in the face for Fox and saying, hey, this is how you actually tell the Phoenix Force saga. This is how you actually do it. This is how you name something and give it credence and make it interesting. Rather than, oh, she's just super powerful. Bang, now she's dead.
Caw, caw.
Yeah. So, I don't know. It could be fun. It's going to be fun, like seemingly, and we're going to get some answers, but I think they're going to leave stuff pretty open.
Oh, yeah, this is going to go on through all of phase
It's absolutely going to be left open. It's just still...
We faced the science thing with hints of magic for the first phase. This is full-on magic. This is the magic of the universe going full scale.
I wouldn't be surprised, though, at the end of it that we come across the stones again. Because I don't think there's any way that they were destroyed.
See, I was just going to ask that. Is there a way that maybe they're trying to play that magic has been heightened because of the destruction of the stones? And
Probably.
It would make sense.
Well, the stones weren't destroyed, technically. A set of stones were destroyed, and then another set of stones, those same stones before they got destroyed, were picked up and then delivered back into where they were.
Yeah.
Like Captain America.
But the previous, or their most mature version, was destroyed by
Thanos. Potentially.
So that power has to be present in some sort. So maybe that's why magic is like suddenly giving the forefront of this like story arc. It would make sense.
Oh, I think you're 100% right. There is a definitive reason why they specifically said, oh, the stones have been used this many times and it released this much energy. That is a big part of what's happening. And it's going to play into the magic stuff. It's going to play into the cosmic power stuff, and it's going to play into the mutant stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to be using that thread of this giant burst of energy took place. Now all of these things are the cascading results of that.
Yeah. I don't know. They're setting up a lot. With one tiny little series, they're setting up a lot of shit.
So much.
Well,
Hi, Morgana. Thanks for watching us.
I think we're going to be getting... I'm leaning towards Chthon at some time showing up now. Because the Darkhold is his thing. And I think they're going to step away from the Infinity. They're going to link in the Infinity stuff as they see they need to. But the big powerhouse object this time is the Darkhold.
So I am unfamiliar with that concept. Can you...
The Darkhold is essentially the book of ancient magic for the Marvel Universe.
Oh, okay.
It's part of the Midnight Suns, which if they really do follow through with that, and everyone's been hinting at that because of her book, we're going to get Ghost Rider back. We already have Doctor Strange. They've already mentioned Blade as coming in for phase 4, and they're all part of the Midnight Suns who end up basically tracking down the Darkhold to either destroy it or put an end to whatever it unleashes.
And yeah, and we're going to be getting, I think we're going to be getting Chthon out of this, and I think that, and Baron Mordo is going to be making a return, I'm assuming. Because if he wants to kill the witches and get rid of the magicians, as he called them, that's an interesting way to do it.
And it plays well into the Doctor Strange thing.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, and I was going to say in Doctor Strange, they've already hinted that in the new movie, I can't remember his name right now, but the Minotaur that can hop dimensions is going to be in the new Doctor Strange film.
Oh,
I can't remember his name. Green Minotaur.
yeah, I know who you're.
Anyway, he's going to be in the new Doctor Strange, which is if they actually use his character as he is in the comics, that could even be even bigger. So a lot is pointing at this major magic cosmic event. So it'll be fun.
Yeah, which or does that mean we're going to be getting a Captain Universe?
I would not be surprised. Captain Universe or Phoenix Force.
I think they're gonna wait on Phoenix Force as long as they can, just because they're doing the the Scarlet Witch thing now. There's a lot of similarities in those stories. Sorry, excuse me.
And Digital Ninja is now joining us on Twitch. Hey Ninja, thanks for watching. And yeah, there is a lot going on in all of those stories. So we'll just have to wait and see, because Marvel has a bunch of stuff happening right now. And unfortunately, the only thing we know for sure is that WandaVision has one episode left. And that we have a fuck ton of questions.
And we probably will afterwards.
Absolutely.
But moving from one TV show to the other,
and
Superman
from Marvel
and Lois,
to DC.
Superman and Lois was so much better than expected. Holy shit.
There have been some really shit Superman TV shows. Let's be honest.
Well, okay. Smallville left a horrible taste in the entire comic book world's mouth.
And that's mostly because of how the story ended.
Yes, we never got the glory shot of him actually in the cape, the suit, flying. Never happened.
Yeah. Ninja, we did not give any WandaVision spoilers. I promise.
Nope.
We just talked about the comic books and all of the fabulousness that is happening within Marvel.
And what possibilities may be in front of us.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, but Superman and Lois doesn't suck.
Well, and we got a new Kent.
Well, we kind of did, because I've watched it twice now, because they did a repeat of it, and the mannerisms that he acts are so similar to Christopher Reeves. If you watch him and how he stutters and stammers, and his interactions with Lois when they meet is almost like verbatim and kind of the same similarities to how Christopher Reeves did his Superman, which I thought was tremendous. In fact, a lot of his mannerisms are Christopher Reeves.
Well, and it's an interesting blend. He seems to have taken a little bits from different versions of Superman. Because but yes, there was very heavy inspiration on the Reeves Superman.
Which I'm fine with. And I loved the costume reference, the reference to Action Comics, the whole thanks. My mom made it for me. Like, fucking awesome. And then the big standout is the production value. I think there's a major paradigm shift that we saw with Stargirl, and I think we're going to see it through all of the CW line, that we're going to see a whole game-changing approach. Because it wasn't CW-fied, thank God. It actually was gritty, it was fun, it wasn't, emotions in stairwells or hallways and, weird obscure rooms or parks. It was like legitimate.
Are you saying it wasn't made for like 16-year-old girls?
Pretty much.
So Emily is now joining us, and she says that so far the Superman movies that she's watched have not been great either. Are you thinking that this will be a bonus and an improvement towards Superman movies also?
I don't think that they're using. I think just like everything they've done before, there'll be hints at it in the Berlanti stuff, but he has very specifically kept his stuff unattached.
Yeah.
We've had one real crossover, and that was the Flash during the Infinite Crisis thing. And that was it. And that was, they pulled Ezra Miller in and said, oh yeah, here's another Flash. But that was it. They want these two things separate from each other because they want their movies to have their own world. They've
Now,
made that very clear.
Yeah, there may be a Grant Gustafson crossover with the Flash Ezra film that they've hinted at, but nothing has been able to be confirmed.
And that's just because it's the Flash, I think.
Yeah. But it is absolutely separated. I don't know. I mean, because that was like the big thing with the last Superman film. As much as I love Henry Cavill, Superman doesn't kill. I mean, and I love Cavill. Cavill's fucking amazing.
He's an incredible actor.
Dude, the man's a specimen. He's so good at his craft.
Oh, I'm so excited for Witcher.
He's such a good nerd.
He is. He a great
grinds
nerd.
down so good.
Well, seemingly Cavill has been done. He's out now, it seems like.
I think so.
Well, I don't know, because he said he signed on again, that Warner signed him. So I don't know, unless it's for them to do another Man from U.N.C.L.E., which I would love to see him do another Man from U.N.C.L.E. But
their next Superman seems like it's going to either be, I mean, they could do a mainline universe, but I doubt it, because apparently their next Superman is going to be black, which leads us to Ellis from Earth, whatever the hell, Earth 4 or whatever it was.
They can't get the white Superman right. What are we going to try doing with a black Superman? All right. I mean, let's get some consistency before we start tinkering.
It's J.J. Abrams directing.
Okay, great. Lens flares all over the place. We won't even be able to tell what color Superman is.
And Ta-Nehisi Coates.
He'll be blue.
He will be blue.
But they're going to have Ta-Nehisi Coates writing. So straight from the comic book world. Most recently, she's currently, she's probably done now, ending his run on Black Panther.
Yes.
So and they're apparently tapping Michael B. Jordan as Superman.
Get Ezra Miller in there, or not Ezra Miller, Idris Elba. Get him in there. He would be a great Superman.
I am fully in agreement with you, and the fact that they've passed him over for Superman, Batman, and James Bond is a giant disappointment.
Yep.
Oh, Rick has on Facebook has just joined us. Hey, Rick, thanks for tuning in. So I don't see Michael B. Jordan as Superman. He's too gritty for what Superman is supposed to be, in my opinion.
Well, and that's why they're thinking it's going to be kind of an Elseworlds thing or another Earth thing, because there is a black Superman, Calvin Ellis.
And I have no problems with that.
And he's a lot more of, he grew up kind of differently, and he had to deal with the segregation stuff, and he had to deal with the racial stuff as not only a superhero, but also as Calvin Ellis as himself. He had to deal with a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it's kind of, it's the under a red sun. It's as if Superman was raised by Russia or different parents or
exactly
or the Waynes.
It's an Elseworlds.
Right. I haven't read those comic books, so I don't know that particular storyline.
Elseworlds is always fun. They do interesting things to tap into the main story, but introduce weird shit that causes a giant change, and
it's a big what if.
Yeah, it's what if for the DC universe, essentially. But back to what we were talking about. We also
back to Superman and Lois.
We have two kids, a Jordan and a Jonathan. Why?
I don't know if I like the kids yet or not, because one, and I'm not going to say which one, is already jumped on my last nerve, and I'm already done with him.
Is that because they're children or because they're actually irritating?
Yes.
Both.
So,
because I think I know what you're talking about, and I'm in agreement.
I'm just like, ugh. I mean, I like that we've got Superman in an entirely different setting. I like that, Ross, the general's in on it, that, everyone's kind of, the family's pulled together and circle the wagons on this. And there are certain aspects of it that I like, and I like the kind of twist at the end. I'm curious how they're going to explain it. Fine. But I please just don't turn this into a teeny bopper.
See, I actually think they CW'd it already. I think they already CW'd it. They did, because they introduced the little campfire talk.
Well,
and that was very much a CW campfire talk. That was my trauma matches your trauma. Let me help you.
But at least it was an end and it made sense to the story. It wasn't just some random emotional vomiting in a stairway that could have waited for something smarter, better, or brighter to be done.
No, it had context, which I agree. It had a lot more context this time.
But it was a great father-son moment. I mean, that was a great bonding moment. I give him that.
Yes.
But
and then him talking to his, I'm guessing, wannabe girlfriend at this point, even though she's dating somebody else.
Yeah, drama.
Yeah, there's your CW.
They always date somebody else.
There's your CW.
They realize.
But I think that they're going to make that as a lower part of the story. I think they're making that as this is happening also, but that's not why we're here.
Because if they do the Stargirl formula, because I think this is Stargirl broke the mold, it shifted. That's the shift.
Yeah.
And if Superman follows that, I think we'll have another solid hit on our hands.
Yeah, but how many seasons did Stargirl actually last?
She's only done the one season, and they're signing on for. They're already filming season 2.
Yeah, they're in production on season 2.
Okay.
And it was great.
Yeah, it was fun.
And the villains were the story. Fuck the heroes.
True.
Let's get the villains in on this.
But that always as a deciding factor. Like we as much as we want to say that we watch superhero stuff for the heroes, it's not. It's for the villains. The villains make it interesting.
You got Solomon Grundy in a basement in a cage. Come on.
Iron Man was cool because it was Robert Downey Jr. playing a version of himself that had more money and intelligence than he actually has.
Mm.
But
I think that's the reason we like The Boys, because the superheroes are the villains.
Oh my God, the
and the villains are the superheroes.
Yeah. And like all the best villains, even in the first Avengers movie, that was a Thanos story. That's what made it interesting. It wasn't about the Avengers. It was about Thanos and him conquering the world.
Yeah. Yep. Emily says 100% the villains, and they're usually hotter and have a better backstory.
All the time they have a better backstory. Every time.
True story.
Yeah.
True backstory.
Which leads, to what happened in Superman and Lois. Who is that? We know his last name, but why and who? Because it's not the same one. It's not the one we've been dealing with.
No.
And they're all on the same Earth now, so it's not the Lex Luthor we know.
Nope. It's not Cryer.
His hands are tied in the Supergirl stuff already.
Yep. It's not Cryer. Which kind of pisses me off. I like Cryer.
Oh, I love John Cryer as Lex Luthor. He is such a weaselly, intelligent a-hole.
Yes. And he got away from that stupid, nervous laugh that he had in 2.5 Men. Thank God.
But this seems to be a different Luthor, and I'm guessing it's going to be an alternate universe Luthor,
or future
Luthor, because we'll see. Though I mean, it is a Luthor, or at least that's the name he was given.
Yep.
So is it a real name? Is it a name he took on? What is it?
And Emily says she knows we're all talking superheroes, Marvel and DC, but Disney's villains are always better.
Maybe. Scar's kind of wimpy.
Hades.
I would say, what's his name? The villain for the first Incredibles movie, I would say he's weak.
Syndrome? Syndrome was awesome.
That was a weak premise, though.
Yeah.
That was every fanboy who ever went to a freaking convention's dream come true right there. Syndrome was great.
Besides, that's Pixar, which didn't become Disney until after that movie was made.
Okay. He's part of the universe now.
It's true. But I mean, come on. Hades, so much cooler than Hercules.
It's true.
That's only because James Caan was voicing the character. If anyone else voiced him, it would have sucked. Maybe Danny DeVito.
Because James Woods came in and could just.
Or James Woods, excuse me.
Yes, James Woods.
For once, I got the name right.
You did.
Yay, Fox!
I was thinking one guy and I said the other. Yes.
All right.
Theoretically.
So, speaking of weird backstories and such, Stash had us watching the movie I Care a Lot.
Yeah, what the hell?
Yeah, dude, come on.
Awesome.
That was some darkness, dude.
Yeah, it was. It was real fucked up. But I gotta tell you, that movie is. Why do we not get Netflix movies of this quality often enough? Because like this was a incredibly well shot, well acted, well directed, well written movie. I mean, musically and sound wise, I feel like it could have used some work, but
see, I got a very timeless vibe off of it. Remember with Bradley Cooper, Timeless, or is that what it's called? Limitless.
Oh, okay, yes.
I got a very much a Limitless vibe off of this. Very nihilistic. Very. It all ends in entropy and sadness.
It does, and I don't feel bad about it, honestly. I mean, that's sometimes like movies aren't always like the upbeat thing. Sometimes you want these really interesting stories, and it goes to show, like, I think a lot of what makes this film so successful is it is a film about the stories we tell in film. And it plays with those tropes and intentionally subverts them. And in doing so, makes you recognize that this isn't what you wanted. This isn't exactly how you expected a story to go. And it makes you feel kind of annoyed, I guess, puzzled.
Same as it ever was. Same as it ever was. Same as it ever was.
The only problem is that it annoyed me in a weird way, and that was, how did she suddenly go Rambo? Was it just that
break?
Was she just such a sociopath that she was so disconnected that she leveled up mid-movie?
Yeah. She just had a break. It's pretty much
well, I mean, I think the big push there was her partner.
Which makes it interesting. Like, I want to know more about why she has connections to the underworld, because that very much happened. She has connections that got dirty and grimy very quickly.
Yeah. It's like, it was very interesting how they played that character relationship, and like how I don't know. It was a very strange film, but like, I think all the strangeness and the elements that kind of made me uncomfortable are what made it so interesting. And I think they tried a bunch of things in this film, and I would love to see the next film from this director, especially if he can do something in a similar tone.
I want more cohesion, though. That would be my thing.
Yeah, the issue I did have is like that midpoint turn
was weird,
and it wasn't. So there's a very specific like film structure that most people write to, and this film doesn't do that exactly. And it's one of the reasons why I thought the film was so interesting, but at the same time, it leaves you with some questions, because like shit got real.
Well, she leveled up like dramatically.
Yeah, I think that's part of her personality, though, is she is willing to step up to any challenge.
And I got that from it. Yeah.
That's exactly what happened. Is like they hit her with a challenge, and she's like, you know what, I'm not stepping down.
No, she's a full-on sociopath bent on getting what she wants, regardless of the cost.
But I mean, she already was.
Yeah.
But, I mean, think about like the premise of the film. She was exploiting some of the most neglected and horribly mistreated people in our society,
and she was the cause of it
for her own greed.
Yeah, she was the cause of a lot of that apparently.
And I also feel like $5 million was not a reasonable amount of money for her to ask for. But
5 million is not unreasonable.
no, it's unreasonable because like she was making way more money than that with like the money she was throwing around at houses and cars and stuff. Like
I think
it
it was
was
the,
just
but it was the
unreasonable.
principle. It wasn't. She didn't need it. It was just kind of like, yeah, just give me $5 million. You know, just like something off the top of her head.
Well, they
Just
kind of
didn't need
speak
it.
to
I mean,
her.
I like $5 million.
See, that's the
Yeah.
thing. I actually think that the number was completely intentional because
I
she
think it was
basically
too.
said, "Fuck you, money is what she wants."
Yeah, that's exactly it.
She wants money to where she can. She even verbalizes it. She wants money that she can use as a weapon.
Yep.
Ooh, I guess you can buy a pretty impressive weapon for $5 million.
Yeah, like that's. Peter Dinklage was just as good as always. But
I'm just
Yeah.
going to interject real quick here because whenever I see Peter Dinklage or read his name, fuck you, Smurf. Because that
Peter
fucking
Dinklage, Peter Dinklage, Peter Dinklage,
That.
Peter Dinklage, Peter Dinklage.
I will refrain from thirsting because I've set myself a 2-episode limit of thirsting over celebrities because I feel like it just gets creepy.
I'll
Oh,
thirst
not
for a little bit with this one. He was dark and mysterious in the best of ways, and
Brutal. I loved it.
wicked
he was
talented.
brutal,
Like
he was charming, he was well dressed, he was articulate.
and his level of evil and willingness to just like, I will hurt you, I don't care,
Classic.
was
So good.
amazing.
Peter Dinklage, Peter
Yeah.
Dinklage, Peter Dinklage.
The way that he just on a dime switched from "I'll kill you" to, you know,
Like he cared, compassionate. Yeah, I know. It was like a switch.
just
It was
immediately.
amazeballs.
Yeah.
Oh my
And
god.
then straight back into
it's
I'll
something
still
they
kill
teach
you.
ladies in finishing school. I didn't know men know how to do that too.
I didn't know we knew how to do that either.
apparently
I
he
didn't know
does.
they still had finishing schools.
Yes.
But yeah, that was it was well acted. I will say that. And it was an
I mean, it was
interesting
a character drama.
version of a story. And it was a story that I haven't really seen much. I mean, the two things that I thought of when watching that was I thought of Limitless and I thought of Law Abiding Citizen, where it's
I love both those movies.
where this person becomes so disconnected from what we perceive as reality that she creates her own moral map where I don't care what you do. I don't care what you think. I don't care who you are. I'm doing this for me and me alone, and you can fuck yourself.
Yeah.
And she didn't care at all.
She didn't. And I've always felt like a strange attraction to that actress, and like hearing her so like coarse and like brutal and bitchy like this was just like, oh, be
Turn
still
on.
my beating heart.
Yeah. Rub you in all the right places.
Like she plays villains very well, because the first time I remember seeing her was in that James Bond film, and she was a double agent and got her ass fucking murdered. But like even then I thought like something about her facial structure and like her skin with hair color give her a very interesting presence. Like she would make a very good elf
Nazi
in Lord of the Rings.
Oh, I was thinking Nazi.
Yeah, I mean that too.
She was very much the picture of Aryan,
Perfection.
supremacy. Yeah, like she very much that low crop blonde,
I mean, let's be fair. There is probably some like Aryan coding in elf lore.
Oh, I'm sure there is.
I don't know, man.
Comes from German traditions, so makes sense.
I mean, I guess it just depends on like if you're thinking like Indiana Jones Nazis,
No, I'm thinking like.
What other kind of Nazis are there? I mean, are you talking about the one with Tai Waititi, where he's dancing around, or Springtime for Hitler. I mean,
No, I was
there's
thinking
just kind of one kind of Nazi.
Well, like there's like the swing kids Nazis, where like there's also dark-haired Nazis, but they're still fair-skinned.
what I got from her was
All right, enough talk about the Nazis.
I got Christoph Waltz Nazi.
Absolutely, that's yeah.
Very smart, very decisive, very determined.
Inglorious Bastards Nazi. Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
She was she wanted to accomplish a very specific task and was not going to stop until that happened.
Or like, what's that? It's like the one in. Never mind. Now I'm just gonna have to go watch Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Or Jojo Rabbit.
Stop calling me Junior.
That's a good one, Jojo Rabbit. Yeah.
Yes, that's Tai Waititi
of all time.
Go down
Alright.
that road. That's a good one.
Well, while we're talking about movies and things, the Golden Globes happened.
They did. And guess what happened? We were shocked by none of them.
By none of it, and none of us hardly watched it.
No, I don't think anybody actually watched it. I didn't even look at like the best dressed because I give that much of zero fucks.
I don't care anymore. I don't need to hear their nonsense speeches. I just
was sad that Hamilton won nothing.
Up. And that's bullshit.
Prom won nothing.
Jason,
all of you can go and suck my giant soul cock.
See, I didn't. Soul shouldn't have won. Soul should not have won. I actually disagreed with that one massively. Soul
not my soul movie. My big metaphorical giant soul formed penis.
Gotcha.
That is what can be sucked.
We'll set a date, Bobby. Maybe like a week from now.
Okay, and you can splash in my pool.
I'll clear my schedule.
But as you were saying, Rosamund did win for I Care a Lot. So she won Best Actress in a Motion Picture for Musical Comedy, which is interesting.
Yes, because I Care a Lot is considered a dark comedy.
How? It wasn't funny. It was.
Some of it was funny.
I don't know. Maybe it has dark, dry humor.
Dark undertones.
Yeah.
It was
like.
funny.
Think of the
Christoph Waltz is playing in a glorious.
Was there like Schadenfreude humor?
I mean, there was two parts of that were kind of Schadenfreude humor, I guess, but that was when they attempted to kill people.
Let's just go right into that whole German thing.
Well, that's what I say.
You shall draw to the floor and die.
Schadenfreude, happiness at the misfortune of others. For those who haven't watched Avenue Q or don't speak German fluently.
Yeah.
But I also question basically the entire nomination of musical/comedy. That seemed
it's weird. Unfair that they're lumped together. They were lumped together for a long time because there were so few movie musicals. There are getting to be more and more movie musicals, and especially this year where there are at least 5 coming out that I know of. And that's just in the immediate future. So I feel that they are at a point now where movie musicals are happening more often, that we need to separate those categories out.
I agree. I do feel like they're going to head in that direction in the next couple of years. It's just right now they're just running off history. And it's like, unfortunately, like an institution like that is always slow to change. So
yeah. Well, plus like I Care a Lot was technically released in 2020 because it was at a film festival in 2020.
Yeah, they snuck it in.
But it wasn't, available to the public until 2021.
Mm-hmm.
So it was on the 2020 docket for awards and stuff, but it wasn't released to the general public until 2021.
Yeah, that's one of their little loopholes. If you can get into a film festival for that year, they count it.
Right. Yeah. So it's just one of those things that, like, we didn't see it or know about it until the end of last month.
That's definitely true. I found out about it when it was advertised to me on Netflix.
Yeah,
Actually,
I knew about it.
Like a couple of weeks before that, because I go through my things that are coming to Netflix.
Yeah, I look at that as well, and then I do the little save to my list thing.
See, I found it through you, actually, Stash.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It
hadn't been on my radar at all until you said something about it.
Yeah,
it was on mine because of Peter Dinklage.
Wow. Thanks for your contribution to this conversation, sir.
But speaking of the Golden Globes, the one that I thought was the most deserved and earned was Jason Sudeikis for Best Actor in a Comedy Series. He won for well, damn it. Why is my brain not working? Ted Lasso.
I have no idea what that is.
So.
That was my show of the year.
I remember you.
Oh yes, I remember you were talking to us about that.
It's only on Apple TV, and that was unfortunate. But you get in for the week, free thing, and that's what I watched. And fully agree. Like, he was the heart of that show and made it what it was, and he earned that very much.
So, do you think? This is a tangent, but do you think the actor, I can't think of his name, of What We Did in the Shadows, do you think that he'll ever get the credit he deserves from writing that incredibly funny situational comedy that
Are you talking about Taika? No.
The guy who directed the original movie and then is starring in this series.
That's
I can
Taika.
never. We met him, Bobby.
Yeah, we've met a couple of. You're talking about Johnny.
I think so. Sure.
Well, Taika Waititi is the one that started it. I don't know who wrote
I
the last
thought it was Taika
season.
Waititi who wrote that.
Taika started it.
Well, whatever. But
he's the one who directed Ragnarok.
Yeah.
It came out last year, at the beginning of the year last year, and I think
because it was John. God, what's his actual name?
Well, that's the new series then, because the original is Taika.
Yeah, the original was Taika.
I'm talking about the series specifically because this is a good nomination for the category that we're referencing.
Because Jonathan Bra is the one that we met here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's not. I don't think anyone takes it serious enough.
And then, he also went with me to the Vampire Balls in New Orleans.
You're talking about the one that plays Deacon, right?
Yeah, that's Jonathan Bra.
Okay. Yeah,
William has joined us. Hi, William. Thanks for watching.
He's writing, and I guess he is technically directing the new series that's on Hulu.
Okay.
Yeah,
because I think that series is phenomenal. I mean, Smurf, did you ever get around to finishing it?
Yeah, I finished it. I finally got caught up. Yeah. The problem is I don't think people take it seriously enough or recognize it for what genius it really is and how it pokes fun at everything.
Oh, absolutely. I don't think it gets nearly the credit it deserves.
I think it's too creative. That's the problem. We always talk about shows that are ahead of their time or that people just don't get because it's too clever. This is that show. This is where this falls into.
Well, and I think
it's too clever.
I think a lot of people just saw what the surface was, which is a funny vampire story, and they jammed it into the dark shadows hole.
Yeah.
And it doesn't need to be there.
Tragic.
Yeah. So it was really funny. So we had Jonathan Bra as a celebrity guest at a vampire ball in New Orleans on a cruise ship. We did a riverboat cruise, and he did the full Deacon character, and he was just absolutely fabulous.
He seems like an interesting person.
People were like, "I loved your movie." He's like, "Oh, you mean my documentary?" and this is true, and he was just getting so into it. It was fucking hilarious.
Just wouldn't break character,
like, just sitting around drinking with that man poolside, it's fabulous.
That's good.
Absolutely love him. We still chat occasionally on Facebook and whatnot. I'm
so jealous.
That's the kind of people you
he's an
want
absolutely amazing human being.
Telling stories
vampire being
that are in love with what they do and at the same time don't take it so serious that they can't play with it.
Oh yeah.
Those are the people you want telling stories, because that means that they're going to invest their time and their care into it. And then they can also be like, yeah, but it's supposed to be that. It's supposed to be goofy on the surface. That's part of the charm.
So, Stash and I met a couple of those guys from What We Do in the Shadows, and one of their bags had gotten lost when they flew to Denver that had a lot of their promotional material in it. So they went out and they bought a couple of stacks of playing cards, and then they just were handwriting. They were signing the playing cards and then handwriting their social media information on that instead of giving out business cards with their info.
That's fun.
They were just giving out free autographs with all their social media information on it.
Are they doing magic tricks at the same time? Because that would have made it better.
That would have been better.
It's very possible, but we sat there and just did like an impromptu interview / hangout session with them.
Mm-hmm.
And so we did not get to see magic tricks, but yeah, just like random stacks of playing cards that they were just like doodling on, and it was awesome.
It was. The reason I brought that series up is because at the beginning of the year, it hit so strong with COVID people. And I thought we would see some awards for it this year. And we have not seen even a nomination.
Yeah, it would have been nice. Oh, and Crystal has just joined us on Facebook. So hi, Crystal. Thanks for joining.
So I don't want to downplay your movie, Tank, or your series, but that's something I was thinking about.
Oh no, and that's completely understandable. I think what you're saying is accurate. I think it got lost.
And nobody watches Apple TV in the second place. I mean, why is this even nominated? Tank, you are the only person I know that actually got Apple TV to watch it.
I did the free trial thing.
I think Mom and Dad have Apple
of
TV.
people.
Yeah.
But I think that my parents have every form of streaming available plus satellite TV.
I did the free trial. I don't currently have Apple TV. I did the free trial just to watch that show because I heard about it.
Okay.
That's the whole reason I did it. I don't think I watched anything else on Apple TV. I watched that series and I was like, ooh, cool. Got my fill.
Only person I know, Tank. And I know a shit ton of people. Just saying.
All right. So other things that have happened recently is Pokemon had its 25th anniversary.
It's true. It was just a few days ago, and this is the year of Pokemon, apparently.
Yeah, so Pokemon is now 25, which is just slightly younger than our sweet fox. Yeah, who is our baby on the show. He's so cute and tiny and squishy.
No, like they did a Pokemon Direct a few days ago, and I watched it.
That would have been on their actual anniversary.
Yes.
Yes.
And that's where we got the announcement of the technically 3 new games, if you want to get technical.
Yeah.
As Pearl and Diamond are considered their own games.
The 2 remakes of Diamond and Pearl, which is Shining Pearl and Brilliant Diamond.
Polished Diamond, yeah.
And I got it.
So basically, let me just, as a non-Pokemon player, do they just like come up with a new color and now it's Puce? It's a Puce Pokemon.
A long time,
around stuff, but like the worst was the last one I played, and that was just X and Y.
Yeah,
and it had nothing to do. Yeah, it had nothing to do with X chromosome and Y chromosome. It was just one monster looked like an X and one monster looked like a Y.
Any dichotomy that they can come up with, they'll make it into a Pokemon game. The last one was Sword and Shield.
They did, they did after X and Y, they went to Sun and Moon, and then they did. They're doing Sword and Shield currently.
Yep, and then they're doing the remakes. Have you seen the gameplay for the remakes of these though?
I have not looked at the gameplay for the remakes of these. I have looked at the other one.
The Arceus?
Yes.
I tried to find.
Like, the remakes look incredible. What they've done with like the innovation and the structure of everything, like it looks like a brand new Pokemon game. It's unreal.
It's reminiscent of what they did when they kind of updated the Red and Blue with the Let's Go games. But yeah, it looks impressive, and I'm sure it'll do well. But I think them introducing the third game in this thing it's not like any of the other ones. Apparently, Arceus is going to have its own essentially prequel story to,
So I learned this earlier today when I was doing some research on it. That Pokemon whose name I can never pronounce because like I've heard it a dozen different ways and none of them stick. He is the origin of Pokemon, essentially.
Yeah,
so you're playing the prequel to all the other games, and you're like doing everything. But the reason I wanted to address this game is because this is the dream game that every Pokemon fan has wanted, because it is an open world Pokemon game where battles are set in a real world, and like you just run up and your Pokemon runs up and fights like right in front of you as you're standing there.
Grand Theft Pokemon. I love it.
That's what everyone.
Are there hookers?
That's what everyone has always wanted from this series. And
wait,
everyone thought
Pikachu in a polka dot bikini.
Okay, no, we didn't want Pokemon hookers. Before you even asked, Bobby.
Let's talk though about the starters. Because you have Rowlet, you have Cyndaquil, and you have the one that's an otter, and I can't remember its name.
Oshawott.
And Tank, you just killed my dreams.
Tank was quick with that answer.
I spent a lot of time on Pokemon. It came out at the perfect time for me.
Yeah.
And apparently, Tank knows his sister well. No Pokemon hookers. But the otter one sounds cool.
It's just an otter.
I don't know. Everything I've seen about it looks incredible. It looks like it's going to be an amazing, wonderful game. And it's so resemblant of Breath of the Wild that it's kind of interesting because it might come out about the same time as the next Breath of the Wild.
Zelda?
We'll see.
Yeah.
Well, and it looks like they're doing like you were saying, it looks like they're doing a prequel to everything, and they're making the origin of this whole Pokemon thing Hoto, which is the essentially, Japan.
Yep.
I'm so excited to play in a sort of like classical Japan setting where like the Pokeballs are made out of wood.
It might
with lotus blossoms.
What?
That was very random, Bobby.
What was that?
Look, I don't play Pokemon, okay?
That's very apparent. But
it wasn't the randomness, it was the fingers that killed me.
Look, my only good Pokemon story involves Stash, a shitty movie, and Pokemon Go.
That's true.
Well, this one looks like it's going to be giving us because it's based around Arceus or Arceus, however the hell you want to say it, who is essentially the god equivalent for the Pokemon character, like the creatures. He is their alpha, essentially.
Yeah, he's their propagate.
Yeah.
No, that's not
propagator.
Progenitor.
No.
They are progeny.
progenitor. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. God damn it. The word
He poo-pooed the Pokemon? Is that what you're saying?
it's
Well, he's their
yeah,
origin, essentially.
yeah. And
Yeah.
like it's going to be really interesting to go back, and this is a time period that no one's ever had, and it's the game that no one's ever had. So honestly, it has the potential to be the highest grossing and most successful Pokemon game of all time. And it could be the big hit that they need, because honestly, I've been kind of underwhelmed with their numbers since they came out on the Switch.
Pokemon or Nintendo?
Pokemon. Nintendo,
their numbers are huge.
Shield was very popular.
Yeah, in the
it's
TCG
not, yeah, but I
realm,
expected Pokemon to be in like the top 5 best-selling games for Nintendo, and it's not.
no, but
It's
it
like,
is.
I think this one has the potential to be.
A lot of their focus has been on the TCG recently, and I think maybe that's why they're now going into the game stuff. Their TCG took a gigantic leap forward this year.
Oh, I know. I have a friend who collects the cards, so I know more about Pokemon than I ever cared to know.
Yeah, they just released their Fate, whatever the hell that was, their Fate line, and it is the biggest thing in like trading cards right now. It's sold out everywhere. It's impossible to find. It's absurdly expensive, and
Sounds
pricing
like
out the
Pokemon.
people that probably need this, which is the kids.
Yeah, I mean,
Sounds like
my friend is a collector, and he buys boxes of not like he probably drops like, I don't know, almost $1,000 on cards at every new release.
Oh, so he buys cases of stuff.
Yeah, he buys cases. Like, I don't know how they categorize it, because it's like there's booster packs, then there's the boxes, and then
Booster
those
boxes
are in other boxes, and then there's cases on top of that.
Yeah, there's different variations.
Yeah, he's made so much money from Pokemon this last year.
Oh, it's obscene. Yeah.
It's like he just gets them, he encapsulates them, and then he turns around and sells them.
That's a lot of people right now. It's a big market. And while I appreciate it, I kind of work in the same market. The problem is, just like every other collectible right now, sports cards, Pokemon cards, Magic cards, even comic books at this point, the aftermarket people, which I am one of those, I do this, but the one thing I don't do is I do not scalp at any point. I don't buy up a mass amount of product just to turn around and flip it.
Price gouge?
No.
But that's all that's happening right now. That is literally, their kids aren't getting any of it because it's all adults buying it right now.
No, you got all the poachers out there. All the poachers. From toys to comics to cards.
Which unfortunately leads to one big thing. Every single time this happens, it leads to a collapse. There's no new group. There's no new group of people saying, oh, I can't wait to play that. I can't wait to purchase that. I can't wait that. There's not going to be a nostalgia 20 years from now because those kids have no interaction.
Yep, that makes a lot of sense.
So
it's like it's sad,
mm-hmm.
but I mean, it's how the collectors markets are, unfortunately.
Well, yeah, I deal with it constantly. I understand that completely. I do my own aftermarket stuff, but I guess I control myself. I buy what I need to satisfy my customers, basically, and then that's it.
Well, it kind of goes in phases. I've seen multiple phases in my lifetime. The cards have risen, they have fallen. The toy market, I see, the same habits that I saw in like the early 90s and mid-aughts. So
yeah, but what's the fall?
It explodes, and then you got a bunch of peg warmers that nobody cares about, and you have toy stores that close.
Well, and then you have the fall, but every single time, what precipitates the fall? It's the aggressive hoarding of it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what's happening right now.
Because it's overpriced and nobody cares because the hotness is worn off, and they're like, I'll move on to something else.
And that's unfortunately where we are right now. We're in the aggressive hoarding stage of this, and so the fall's not far off.
Nope.
Yeah.
Shouldn't be.
Yeah, next couple years max. There's going to be a massive fallout from this, and There's going to be a generation of people that don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, but see, this happened before. I mean, this happened with like Pokemon
come back again.
and both have like made a resurgence lately.
It's hard to say because we've never had a pandemic and lost an entire con season. So I'm curious to see how the hoarding side of this goes and the aftermarket sales.
Well,
it may go longer than it normally does.
Well, as a result of all this hoarding, though, PSA has now increased their prices by 100%.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
And I do not or will not be surprised when the other grading agencies do the exact same thing, because they're trying to limit what's happening right now.
Mm-hmm.
And they're forcing essentially a downward force on this. People are not going to be sending in all kinds of stuff to get graded.
They're trying to cap the market just like anything else. They don't want to flood it with a bunch of 9.0s because there's no point. It's just gonna kill it.
Devalues the overall product. So.
Well, and they're also almost a full year behind right now on grading. There are people who have stuff in from May of last year that aren't getting it.
Yeah, I have friends that dropped shit off at ChicagoCon last year, still haven't seen their shit.
Oh yeah, and this is part of that problem. This is the same thing. This is what happens when you take a product and you limit its release, and then that limited release then becomes rare, and then you increase the release, but you still fake that the rarity exists.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then you have people that you'll open up the new set of cards or something like that, whether it be baseball or Pokemon or whatever, and you have people paying $13,000 for cards, for one card that's brand new that came out a week ago. That's not sustainable.
As I'm sitting with my treasure hoard behind me. Can we change the subject, please?
But yes, Pokemon, regardless, is doing wonderful things this year, and congratulations on 25 years of Pokemon. Because
and if the TCG market crashes, the video game market's probably not going to anytime soon. So
they'll be fine.
Yeah, push their money in that direction now.
Yep. I'm excited to see what they do in the future. And like they've got Snap that's coming out in a few months. So 2 months, I think.
I think you're right.
I think so.
And then following in the line of video games, I believe Fox had a topic she wanted to talk about today.
Yes, there's a board game he's very excited about.
Yeah.
That's Stardew Valley.
Yes, I'm so excited about this board game. One thing that's really interesting about this release is that they kind of kept its development more or less a secret. It's been in the works for over 2 years. And they released it when they announced it, which is not how board games usually do the thing.
No.
Usually it's who waited like 3 years for my board game I supported on Kickstarter. I agree.
So they didn't do a Kickstarter for this?
No.
And I actually went to try to buy it today, and they are completely sold out. So as soon as they get restocked, I'm gonna pick this up. One thing that I think is really cool, a couple things that I think are really cool, is that they kept the spirit of the game of Stardew Valley by making it a co-op game. So the players,
I always like co-op games so much.
Yeah. So the players are fighting to keep Joja Cola out of the town, which is really fun. I think that it wouldn't really make sense to have Stardew Valley as a competitive board game. And then just looking at the trailer for it, they used a lot of the original images from the game on the cards and the board itself, and it just feels like coming home. I've spent like 500 hours in that game.
Good Lord.
It really does. Like, I never actually played the game, but I definitely watched, I don't know, probably close to 50 or 60 hours of your gameplay.
Yeah, remember remember that 6 weeks when I was unemployed when I would just play Stardew Valley nonstop?
Yes, I do. I would come home and you would be in your dick out pose and
In my Pushin Kigurumi, and literally I would wake up, I would come downstairs, I would turn on Stardew Valley, and I would sit there and play for like 16 hours and not get up to like pee or eat the entire time.
Good Lord.
I have not done that in a long time.
So
yeah, it was not a great time for Fox's health.
Not a great time, no.
what's really interesting to me about this particular board game is that it's not created by the same people who created the video game. It's actually created by two of the video game's players who met online playing the board game or playing the video game.
Yep.
Mhm. It's really,
That's
it
so cool.
makes sense because like Stardew Valley is all about creating connections, and these connections are what make that world and interactions so interesting and important. And it makes sense that those bonds transcend the limits of the game and have accomplished some very incredible things. It's like I am not a big fan of games like that, but I appreciate what they are. And I think that creating a board game will do nothing but appeal to a wider audience and give people really what they want. I mean, Stardew Valley came out, what, 3 or 4 years ago, Fox? Maybe longer than that.
More than like 5 years ago?
I think it's closer to 5, but yeah.
Yeah.
Either way, it's been
like-
within the last few years.
I just got an update for Stardew Valley on my Xbox. Like,
Oh
not
my
even
god,
a
it's
week
here.
ago.
It's here on the consoles. It's here.
Yes.
I
The
think
big
it is.
update. It's on consoles now.
I think
you
it
told
is.
me.
I was going to, but then I was also like, I'm never going to be able to play my Xbox again.
Fox will never leave the house again.
How many hours do you think in total you spent on the game, Fox?
At least 500, but that's really like that's not crazy. Like
Oh,
No.
That's
a lot.
crazy.
That's a lot.
No, it's not.
Yes,
You're
it
talking
is.
about-
I
I
spent
spent
500 hours
40,000
on
in Destiny.
I spent 500 hours on Fallout New Vegas, and I feel like I barely got to experience any of it. Obviously, with Stardew Valley, it's a little more like it's not an open world game. But I am just excited to have a new medium, meaning board games, to live out my cottagecore homestead fantasies.
That's
I'm
good.
excited for you. It's
I
going
love
to be fun. Hopefully you get it sometime soon. Who knows?
Did you check with Wizard's Chest over on Broadway?
No, I just followed the link in the article that I sent out, but I'll give them a call. Actually, I know someone on the inside who could let me know if they have it.
I would
Yeah,
reach out
check
to
with a
Wizard's
couple of
Chest.
the local retailers.
Yeah, if you need me to, I can check around here too. I know people that do board game stuff here, so.
I know people. See,
You
You
see
guys are
that?
You guys are great. You're so
We got
supportive.
connections.
I gotta have connections in toys and video games and board games and all of that.
true story.
Y'all are such good
Jeremy
friends.
has joined us. Hi, Jeremy. Thanks for watching. All right. So, speaking of your connections, Tank, you have connections with the comic books,
Yes.
and DC Future
Wow.
State has come to its conclusion.
That seems like it, at least for the time being.
And what do we think of DC and the turmoil and trauma it has put us through?
There was some cash grabbing.
Smurf, it's not your turn.
No, he's not wrong. There was some definite cash grabbing going on here. They messed up a lot. I'm gonna be honest about that. While initially I was loving the Wonder Woman stuff, they crashed that thing hard. And the surprise for me that came out of it was I am okay with where Batman is going if they keep it on this track.
Mm-hmm. It makes sense, and it plays right into Joker War. And you know what? It Dark Detective was the gem in this pile of shit.
And Next Batman was fun in its own right. It gave us a different perspective on Batman, and one that seemingly will make sense if they flush it out.
Yeah. Okay. If
they flesh it out, if
they
have to give it a little bit more story, but they gave us what it would look like without the Batman we're used to. What is the world going to look like without him, without Bruce Wayne as Batman?
We'll see. I don't know. There were some other surprise hits. We shouldn't downplay all of Future State. The Robin wasn't bad. I do feel like I got fleeced on a couple of books that they were overly proud of. Was full of more ads than book for $9.
Oh yeah, I think the least I paid was $5 for a book.
Yeah,
which is abnormal.
Fucking hell. The Green Lantern stuff was funny. It was entertaining.
Yeah.
Just because I got a kick out of Guy Gardner. The Shazam stuff was kind of interesting. I don't know. So this week we have the new stuff coming in. So the new Batman is back to normal.
Yes.
There's the Justice League that brings the Sinister Syndicate.
Yes.
Out of it.
Have the Generations Faded thing happening now.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna bother picking that up. Don't even waste your money.
Well, I have to, but yes.
Don't. I hate to say that, but just it ain't gonna be worth the powder it take to blow it to hell.
Apparently, that's what the story they're going to be forcing through is the fallout of Generation Shattered from the Dark Knight's death metal line into the Generations Faded and something like that. And we have a new version of Wonder Woman potentially happening with the sensational Wonder Woman coming out. I honestly don't know what's going to happen there, and based on how they ended the Future State Wonder Woman stuff, I'm not too interested to find out.
No, not really. It's actually kind of an anemic week for comics this week. There's really not a whole lot hitting.
Swamp Thing impressed me. I will say that. I enjoyed the Swamp Thing, and I think
Swamp Thing is fun, but it never has legs.
Well, then that's what I'm hoping that they are doing a brand new line apparently for Swamp Thing, so maybe they'll do something smart with it. Because Swamp Thing's always been one of my favorite characters that is very much underrated and very much underpushed. And that's because no one seems to want to stick with it. Which is weird because it's one of the more interesting stories when you really engage with the idea of this man-god creature that is Swamp Thing.
But face it, the days of Alan and Brights and covers, that's long gone. I don't think we'll ever see him at his glory that he was. I really don't. I don't think we'll see an Alan Moore Swamp Thing style ever again.
Well, I tend to believe you're correct in that, but I'm hopeful, I guess.
Fingers crossed. You never know.
And then Marvel this week. I mean, it's King in Black. It's King in Black. It's the end of Black Panther as we currently know it. And it's once again, Heroes Reborn in the Marvel Universe.
Opa!
Once again, for the 15th time this decade, we're going to have the Heroes Reborn coming out of it. And who knows? I mean, King in Black has been fun. And that's because Donny Cates is my favorite writer right now. When it comes to just his writing storytelling, the way that he tells a long form story is interesting to me because he grabs bits and pieces of Marvel history and he grabs new things and says, hey, remember this? I said, 20 books ago. Well, that matters now.
Yeah. Who knew that Venom #3 was going to end up worth a shit?
Holy crap. Yeah.
He set that thing up back in 2018. This is a story that's been going on since 2018, folks.
And then the Silver Surfer Black stuff having meaning now, which is personally awesome to me because Silver Surfer's always been one of my favorite characters. And him having a purpose again.
Yep. Totally validates everything.
And so for me, Donny Cates is worth it. Daredevil looks like it's going in an interesting direction.
Yes.
Black Panther's apparently ending.
Black Panther's done.
It's unfortunate because, god dang, I mean, what Coates has done with that story, taking it over and making it more dramatic and interesting, making Black Panther a badass, the badass he was always meant to be.
I just like Thunderbolts, and that Kingpin as the mayor of New York has his own personal army.
Oh, I love that.
I think that is the greatest idea ever.
The mafioso approach that they've given Kingpin of he gains the trust of the community. He gains their, support through seemingly good actions. And then he owns New York now, all of a sudden. And that's the way
Daredevil's in jail.
That's the way Kingpin needs to exist in this world, is that he is the boss of New York, and that's it. That is the bottom line.
Yep.
That's the way mobsters should do it.
Yeah,
and that's what it was. It was the old school mafia story approach, and they did it perfectly.
Yep. Without a doubt.
I don't know what else is coming out of this. Hickman's still running the X-Men stuff. We'll see how that goes. I basically at this point, the only reason I read it is because it's Jonathan Hickman.
That, and there's the new X book that's coming out this week with Psylocke on the cover. That kind of reminiscent of
the Demon Days.
Yeah, 1602. Kind of reminiscent of that, I think, and that's got more covers again than you can shake a stick at. And I honestly think that's going to be a very hyped book. I would totally buy in on that one.
Well, based solely on the writer and artist, on who it is. It's Peach doing her own thing now, and that's a good way to go about it because her art style is brilliant, honestly. And she is a big artist right now. She's up and coming and will be huge, I think, in the near future. So giving her a Psylocke story that she gets to tell.
Yes, especially in feudal Japan. Oh, this is going to be a huge story. If there's one to pick up this week, it's
Demon
the first issue landing. It is that, and it's like my number one pick for this week. So
I would actually agree with you on that one. That one seems to be the big one that's going to set off an interesting story for the X-Men.
And pick it up from Knox Nostalgia Collectibles.
There you go. Nice plug.
If I have it.
Shameless plug here.
Hey, I try to plug, Tank as often as possible on the show because, that is half
it's
the point
tough running
of
a comic
having,
book store.
The connection with the comic books and the video games and whatnot. Not only does he provide lovely insight and whatnot, but he also gives us good deals on such. So
tough running a comic book store.
Little shameless promo does not
it's
hurt.
not easy. It's not easy.
No.
But if you exist outside of the traditional superhero stuff, TMNT is going into its own storyline with Jenica again, apparently, and she's getting her own line. We'll see what happens with that. But a lot of people like Jenica when she first was introduced. Maybe it'll be interesting. Star Wars: The High Republic seems to be a big buy right now because they are fully looping in the cinematic universe on this High Republic series. It looks like.
Yep.
Did you hear that, Dad? Who is now watching? The Star Wars, comic book series, of which I got you one of those comics for Christmas.
It seems like the next phase for Star Wars.
Yeah, this is the next phase. And
it's going to be tying right into the cinematic universe. So
yes, it is.
Talk to your son-in-law about getting you more comic books.
I have a couple, yes.
Well, he does say shameless ? So I figure, it's an appropriate thing here.
The Marvel Universe seems to be slowly and I don't know, potentially interesting ways, fully looping in their comic books into their cinematic worlds at this point.
See how that goes.
We'll see how that ends up playing out, but that looks like it is what's happening. They're connecting stuff. I'm wondering where Donny Cates is going because he's doing the next Carnage thing, the red, white, and black Carnage thing, and then I don't know where he's going after that. I haven't heard yet. So
he's got a new series in Image, I believe.
Is he doing an Image one?
Mm-hmm.
Is it his own
Yes.
first run series?
Yes.
Oh, cool. Then follow that because it's probably going to be good storytelling.
Yep.
But yeah, that's it for comics this week. I mean,
It's
go,
anemic.
yeah, go get Demon Days if you can. The King in Black's wrapping up. It has been an interesting story from beginning to end.
It's been a great story. Last issue hits, I think, next week. Final issue's next week.
Yeah, it should be next week. King in Black number 5 of 5, and then yeah,
They dropped Venom off of a building.
that was the best.
That was awesome.
That was the best. Yeah. It was amazing. And the
Venom
fact
goes
that they in the Planet of the Symbiotes, it was a small story, but it intrigued me was the American Kaiju.
Mhm.
That they brought American Kaiju in, and a lot of people said it fell flat, but honestly, if you read it from the perspective he's reading it, it talks about a guy that loves his country but doesn't know how to exist in it anymore because he doesn't trust the people running it.
Same.
And that made,
Where have I heard that story before?
yeah, exactly. And they very much tapped into that feeling of unease that even this guy who was a soldier, who was a super soldier, who was all of these things, has lost his faith in his country, but still loves it so much and so deeply that he wants to defend it.
So essentially the Captain America deal from the early movies.
Kind of, yeah. It does
Kind of.
tap into that a little bit, but it's a short story. I don't think anything's going to come out of it. I sincerely doubt we're suddenly going to get an American Kaiju line. But for such a small snippet of a book, it was actually deeply interesting.
I kind of reminiscent of U.S. Agents, and who's the guy that took the pills with the American flag on his face that was in Daredevil?
Hazard, I think was his name.
No, it wasn't
That one?
Hazard. They kind of hinted at him actually in the series.
Yeah. Well, this whole thing is based.
I can't
This
remember.
whole thing seems to be predicated on the idea that Venom was part of the Weapon X program.
Yep.
And that he was just another Wolverine. He was another Phantom X. He was another Captain America that got fucked up. And this is what happens.
We should learn our lesson and really just
stop
fucking with
injecting people with random shit.
Yeah.
All right. So just to tie it all up with one nice big fancy bow before we call it a night. Last week, there was a bit of a debate over worst live action remake of the Disney movies.
And who won?
So we put it out to you, our listeners, our fans, our followers.
So who got worst?
Well, I do want to say that Beauty and the Beast got 1 vote for worst.
Oh, really? Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, but the rest for best.
Yeah.
I just wanted to put it out there that Beauty and the Beast got 1 vote for worst, just so I could watch Stash's face go like this.
It's okay. People can be wrong.
I never said it was the worst. I just said it wasn't the best. But apparently,
All right, worst
fandom disagrees.
are tied between the new Mulan
Oof. Yeah, that was a rough go.
and Lion King.
Oh, come on.
Really? No mention of Aladdin? That thing was a dumpster fire that needed to be dumped in the ocean.
The new Aladdin it's pretty bad. We didn't like it, but the worst goes to the new Mulan and the Lion King.
Okay.
I like the new Milan better than I like fucking Aladdin.
How was Dumbo not the worst? I'm sorry, but that movie was dog crap.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Dumbo does not even get mentioned. Pete's Dragon got mentioned.
Wow, really?
I never actually saw that.
That's a reach.
Yeah.
That was also
Alright.
that was always kind of an iffy thing to begin with, to be honest.
So yeah, Maleficent got mentioned a couple of times as best.
Yeah, I saw that argument.
New Cinderella got mentioned as best.
How?
And
Whatever.
Beauty and the Beast got mentioned as best.
That's not a surprise. Everyone likes
Yeah.
Emma Watson.
So just so you know, Aladdin was not ever mentioned as best. So you have that going for you. But that's where we are. Fans think that Mulan and Lion King tie for Disney. What the fuck were you thinking?
Accurate.
And on that lovely bombshell,
we shall say goodbye. We will return next week. Same geeky channel, same geeky time. In the meanwhile, run fast, laugh hard, and always be kind.
Oh, and one more note says you have to watch the new Mulan as though it's not like the cartoon. We did, and people still didn't like it, Emily. I'm sorry. It was good in different ways and bad in other ways. We love you. Be kind. Goodbye, all.
Ba-da-da-da.
All right, we are no longer streaming.
All right, give me the cheese may.
Hold on. We are also
We're still recording.
now.